Hello, 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 everyone. We are live. Okay, I already see your guardian angel has been leaving some lovely messages. It's good to see you. Thank you for sharing your love. And I guess I'm going to start with this little guy right here because why not? Hello. Okay. Hi, Pulsar Fusion. Hi, Jenny. Oh, so good to see you here. Yes, we need some fizzy drinks. Welcome to the party. I actually do have drinks today. I have 2 drinks. I have some hot chocolate with a splash of cold brew. Hi, Robert. And I got my water here as well. um, it's good to see you guys. Hi, Sheila. Great to see you. Oh, it's so good. Got some awesome peeps in here. Well, welcome everyone. Lots of good stuff to delve into today. And feel free to comment in the comment section. Because there's so many things that have been unfolding. Things that have been unfolding while hi, Gold Rainbow. Well, in the last couple of months during the chilly winter times of the northern hemisphere and the warm summertime of the southern hemisphere. But all in all, we're right on track. It's really an incredible time because we've been in this hi Jennifer. Oh, so good to see you. We have been in this portal of water. For a while we were in this portal of fire. So right now we've been in this water energy. And water is very interesting because it's incredibly cleansing. Hi, Ralph. It's good to see you. Water is incredibly cleansing. It's got this very restorative, healing power to it, like all elements do. But it also is very interesting, if you've ever been on a boat when there's waves. Hi, Sue Ellen. Oh, it's so good to see you. Sue Ellen is one of my friends from Brazil. And so there is water has this, when you're on a boat and it goes like this, it's almost a little bit, can it be slightly disorienting? So there have been a lot of interesting things happening in the last couple months that have been somewhat disorienting for some people who have let their energy kind of get caught up in it. And so I know I felt it when I was in Belarus and had to really feel really get grounded to feel that sense of, ooh, no, it's all right. Even though the waves are going, it's all right. You can flow with the waves. And one great thing that I am really excited about is I shared this message. It was a channeled message. And I didn't really even share it. I was just there letting it come through about the lies inside our minds and how to make sure that we clear out those lies, that we challenge those lies. And I actually got a lot of messages from some of you, like private messages that were like, oh my God, this really spoke to me. I know the message of the lies has really spoken to me as well, because oftentimes all of us have these lies in our minds, and they feel honestly like trash piling up. And if we don't take out the trash and we say, you know what, out of here, I don't believe you. You got to get out of here because I need to make room for fresh air and new ideas and new beliefs. And so a big one, a big theme of this week to keep in mind as you go through the week this week. Notice when those lies come in, they want to tell you that, oh, you're not enough, that this thing is happening, and look what they're doing to you, and look what they're doing to me, and blame and jealousy, and overall, this feel of lack of worthiness. And trust me, the lies, they'll give you lots of good excuses. They say, "Oh, you want to challenge me? Well, let me tell you why this is true." Okay? The lies have that power. It's like this inner judge. That's what when I commune with seven, that's what they say. It's like you've got to be aware of this inner judge when it comes in. So just want to offer this to you guys. You are worthy. We have so much inner power that when we begin to tap into it, it's almost strange in the beginning because it's like, whoa, I didn't know this was here. Just like when you get to the ocean and you see it from a distance and you get in the water and then you feel the power of the water. Ralph says intuition, absolutely. And you know what's amazing about intuition? Everybody's got intuition, and everybody's got all the necessary intuition that they need at any point in time. Okay, so all you got to do is just take a few moments each day, quieting, whether it's through meditation or even simply walking somewhere with some fresh air, or even when you're taking a bath, just taking that time to just breathe in, quiet down those lies and say, you know what, I'm turning you down right now. I'm going to make space, emptiness, and then that intuition is available. And when we tap into it is amazing, like the things that come up. And so on that, I wanted to talk a little bit because this has come up a few times of, the last couple months, there has been COVID situation has sort of magnified in some places. Some places are opening up, okay? And then what's been interesting is this whole thing that was announced by people at Davos that were saying, what was the famous sort of quote that came out is, "Oh, you will own nothing and be happy." So this is very, very interesting because so many people got really worked up about this, and it makes sense. Now, in a spiritual perspective, of course, you will own nothing and be happy. It almost sounds a bit mystical. But then everybody's like, well, who's going to own things? And who are these people to tell me how I should be living my life or not? And one of the perspectives that came in when I was sitting with seven with our galactic family that they said that you guys, you give so much power to your so-called leaders because you think that, they know everything or that they're going to decide everything. But the truth is they don't know that much. They're sort of just figuring it out on the go, and they're testing out ideas to see if you're going to sort of grab on the hook, right? And the moment that hi, Bob, the moment that you sort of grab on the hook and you get reactive about it is sort of the moment that you're kind of buying into the whole thing. So just because they said they put out these ideas, you don't have to not just agree with them, but be reactive to these ideas. Because the moment that we get reactive is it can really, it's like being on that boat, right? The moment that you're reacting to the boat being like this, what happens? You get nauseous, your body reacts, you're not feeling good. And imagine you're the captain of this boat. Where are you going to be riding this boat, right? And we're all captains of our own boats, right? So Sheila says, it's what I feel I've been doing this week. I've been a bit sick, no energy, and so on. Last night I did a meditation, resetting my body, making room for new. Absolutely. See, this is really interesting, when we get sick because, the frenetic energy that sometimes is present when we get sick, our body weakens, and it's actually a great opportunity, as you're mentioning, Sheila, to actually sort of say, you know what, I feel weak, and whatever I've been doing right now is sort of led me to this place. So I kind of just want to just be, because there's not much I can do because I do feel physically weak. And then that surrender, and this is so huge, and that surrender doesn't mean that, a lot of people think if I'm surrendering all my resistance and all these lies, it means that I'm going to lose, right? If you surrender, you're not losing. As a matter of fact, like Sheila, you're saying, like, you're making room for new, and that's what that does. But that is so threatening to the part of our mind we call the ego, right? It's like, what do you mean you're surrendering? What do you mean what are you going to do, not believe everything that I'm going to tell you and start to feel better? What? So that's exactly um what happens in that process. But was he say, yeah, I'm actually going to surrender. Robert says, I love your energy, spreading positivity is my life. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's really, really important. We really, there's so many energies out there in the universe, masked as anything and everything, that want to sort of are always demanding our attention, right? Like, look here, look here, look here. And the powers that be, they're doing the same thing, because they want our attention, because they have ideas about how they want to lead. And the moment that we look over and we say, we get worked up, now it's important to pay attention to what's going on. And it's important to pay attention in a way that also makes us think, wait a minute, what do I want? Like, what's really right for my perspective, from my higher perspective? And the thing is, so few people do that, right? So few people actually take the time to say, wait a minute, wait a minute. I get what this person is saying. I get what that person is saying. I get the sort of like what my ego's kind of trying to push me towards. Let me take some time consistently throughout my day, my week, my life, and just really figure out what feels really right to me, to this truer part of me. And this is really key. And this is what something that has been so incredible about connecting with Seven, because they always bring in this perspective that just feels like, I almost feel like, oh, I thought I had it figured out. And they sort of show another side of the coin that's like, oh, I didn't think of that, or I didn't think I could go that far, or that. And that's the thing, when we challenge the lies that say you're not enough, and who do you think you are, and what are you doing, and you're weird, and why are you reading that, and why you're watching that, and why do you want to make that decision, and why do you want to take that chance, and why do you want to go there? Something is not gonna go right for you. All this, and when you quiet that out, it can be the most daring and bold thing that you can do. All right. That's the most bold thing that we can do, saying, you know what? I'm not going to believe these lies. I'm going to get connected to my own truth. And that's taking that chance is just such a beautiful thing, because it can really, really transform not just our frequency, but literally all the lifetimes that we are on, including our past. All right. That's what's really interesting. So Sheila says, that's what I do. I hear all sides, give myself my time to decide, try to make decisions from the heart space and how it feels. Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably why you're here, because I feel so much of this community is about making that connection with one another, but always maintaining a sense of that inner connection with our inner self, and what is coming forth from there, because the greatest guidance comes from deep within. Anybody that tells you, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to say, like, thank you, I appreciate that, but the deepest guidance always comes from within. So how to tap into that, that's the key, right? And how to practice that. And one interesting thing that also came up as I was sitting, because at such a time, where a lot of people have felt out of control, right? Especially with quarantine, and uh, a lot of people sort of being isolated in their homes, or not being able to go to their jobs, or a lot of people who had to close down their businesses, and the sense of feeling out of control, it can really put us in a reactive state, and really rise up a lot of anger, right? And the thing is that unless we do that inner work, a lot of these negative emotions, they can really stay sort of dormant in there, but they're present. And something happens on the outside world, like has been happening for everybody around the world, that can really trigger a lot of people. Jenny says, this has been me this week too. Yeah, it's really interesting because there's been a lot of Pisces energy that has been coming in this this last week. And one interesting thing that the Pisces energy brings in is, especially right before springtime in the northern hemisphere, is this almost like dream-like state, which actually can be a nice state of low resistance. And when we are in that state of low resistance, a lot of good things can start to manifest. So to keep that in mind, this is a good time to sort of look at your intentions, at your dreams, at your visions. This is a good time to sort of really simmer in those, because as springtime comes in, a lot of that a more intense, fiery action energy is going to come forth. So one of the things that was coming in as I was sitting with the Pleiadians, that they said, with your word, with your action, they said, are you healing or are you condemning? Are you healing or are you spreading more pain? Are you healing or are you instilling more fear? And this, first of all, comes in with the word that we say to ourselves, okay? And again, it goes in with the lies. So it's really important to notice, like, is my word that I'm sharing right now with myself or with someone else, is it healing? Is it bringing love? Is it bringing something positive? Is it bringing light? Sheila says, light bulb moment. Is it bringing light? That's what light is. That's what enlightenment is. People have this idea of like, enlightenment is me floating with wings above, planet Earth. But true enlightenment is, are we each and every single moment being filled up with light, and to realize that we have the power in that. We can make the choice. Like, oh, am I bringing light into this moment with the word that I'm speaking? And with that, I wanted to bring something up because it's been sort of not really bothering me, but I want to clarify this. It's kind of like a bit of an elephant that I got to address. A lot of people sometimes will ask about, let's say recently has been the vaccine, and they'll say, Charlie, what do you think? And what I say is, it's not my place to tell you what to do or not to do. And honestly, it shouldn't be anybody's place to tell you what to do or not to do. And the truth is that none of us like being told what to do. And I can only share what comes through me, through the perspective, uh, the 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 perspective of the higher energies that I'm connected to. And that's really key, but that can be threatening because so many humans have grown up in a world where they're so used to others telling them what to do, and sometimes telling them what to do with very forceful energy and a lot of fear, that that's not good. In my book, you know, I think it's important you do your own research, but it's up to every single person in that moment of quietness to decide within themselves. That intuition, as Ralph was mentioning, it's that intuition that lets you know what, this is not quite right for me, or you know what, I think it's okay. And that's really key. But what happens with a lot of people, they say, oh, if you're not warning people about this thing and instilling fear, then you're not doing your job. And it's like, that's not really a good job to do, to instill fear in people, to sort of tell people like, you should do this or that, and because if you don't do it, you are doomed. And that's one perspective, right? But we really gotta be attentive. Oh my God, thank you, Sheila, so much. Thank you. Oh, thank you so much, Sheila. I really appreciate it. And with that, we really again gotta be attentive. Are we healing or are we condemning with our word, with our thought? And here's the other side. If let's say a thought comes up, don't Fear is not source. Absolutely. But don't punish yourself. Nobody's punishing you, right? That's the other side. Where people think like, I'm gonna be punished. Oh my God, I just thought something negative, or oh my God, you're not gonna get punished, okay? Nobody's here punishing you. The question is, when you really become connected, you're gonna feel something that doesn't feel right. And you're gonna move more and more towards something that's like, you know what, this really feels right to me. And not because it feels right because it's comfortable, but it feels right because it's coming from the source, right? It's not coming from a place of fear, right? And and you when you do feel fear, again, don't punish yourself. It's just a signal. Our emotions, they're little signals, okay? They're little guidance systems, all right? Um, so Radu joined. Thank you, Charlie. Choosing the right energy is the path forward. Yes, absolutely. And again, it's got to be done with gentleness and kindness. And this gentle, kind energy sometimes doesn't even feel like it is part of the world that we are in, but it's present. It's present everywhere. It's present, even nature that feels so massive and strong and wild and powerful. There's just so much gentleness and kindness even in her. And so when we find those moments and we move through that energy in that sense, there's a lot of relief that comes in, a lot of space that is made for well-being to come in. So, so another thing that's been to speak about in terms of ascension. We all know energies are shifting, right? We all feel it. This is not anything that you need to read or see anywhere. A lot of people are feeling it. Obviously, it's being manifested as well. We see it everywhere in the world. But there's a couple of things that are happening. There is shifts that are somewhat orchestrated, right? From the sort of, a lot of governments out there that are sort of orchestrating their own shifts, financially speaking. Sometimes people ask me about crypto, and I'll touch on that a little bit. What's amazing about crypto is that it was born from a place of wanting to unplug from the financial matrix that so many people were in. Okay. And so what's really cool is to see how crypto itself is, I mean, the energy in cryptocurrency is magnifying as well. And a lot of people participating are very genuine. They are the same people that are sort of like noticing the shift happening and they're saying, oh, this is for real. We are literally unplugging from the old matrix. And then there are components from the old matrix that are sort of seeing this change happening or saying, oh, wait a minute. Oh, this is for real. Oh, okay, maybe we gotta participate um, in this world, and so that's kind of what's happening energetically, where everybody is feeling the energetic shifts on planet Earth cosmically happening, and then everybody's saying, wait a minute, shifts are happening. How do we become a part of it? And even governments are doing that. Financial systems are all doing that. They're sort of all clamoring to see, well, how can we sort of, in some ways, exploit this? How can we move different pieces? Uh, Dolly going to the moon. Hey, yes. um, yeah, it's really amazing because this is the interesting thing. So, a lot of people think that, oh, just the shift is just purely orchestrated. It's not. It's real, the shifts that are happening, but just because there are people that are wanting to control how the movement is how they're moving things, doesn't mean that that's the way it's going to go, because no system can exist without our participation in it. All right, this is so huge. And this is the thing that gets a lot of people, because they say, okay, well, if I have this fear, how do I now start to practice it? Because it doesn't feel like I have it, because it feels like everything is out of my control. All right. And the thing is that you might not need to know exactly where you need to go right now. That's okay. It's okay to again, to surrender and just say, you know what? I don't really know. I might not know where I'm going with my life. I might not know where I'm going with a job I'm going to do or where I'm going to live. All I want to do is just be in a state of flow and be open to what is the right path for me, all right? And to really make that adjustment, because sometimes people would say, I just, how do I participate in it? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't understand. I feel like I'm out of control. It looks like, the government is deciding everything, or this system or that government. And any force that wants to move you, it's gonna want to move you by wanting to sort of, first of all, make you feel like you don't have any control, that they're controlling the game, that they're making the rules. All right. So, yes, there are some people that might set some rules for a certain system that's in place or whatnot, but the real decision maker is you. Okay. This is exactly what I've been hearing today: surrender to love and flow. This is Anya. Yeah, absolutely. This is honestly, it's a daily practice, because for us humans, not so much for the animals, right? They tend to be in a state of flow all the time. All right. But for us, we build resistance so fast, because so much of our training in a young age is, for most of us, is done in this way, right? Through a lot of resistance, through a lot of no's. Don't do that. Don't touch that. Don't go there. I've been studying crypto for a year, and I'm just starting to understand. Cool. Robert is learning about crypto. And she says, I have no idea about digital money. That's all right, because honestly, there are times where I don't really understand it. I have people in my immediate cosmic family that know a lot more about it. So I've been learning through that. Um, and yes, nature is always flow, and it's okay. I'm still understanding a lot of what crypto is, and there's a lot of it that I don't understand. But I'm watching this world evolve, and it's really beautiful. It's like taking shape, and I'm seeing so many people participating from all sides that never believed in it, didn't believe that the challenge that anyone could challenge the system, the old system of money and finance, which is really huge. So to see people doing that is really a testament to the shifts that are coming. But again, there's a balance to it. And how long this ascension is, this is a really good question. I get this a lot, so I'm going to address this in just a minute here. So to when it ends, we're always in a state of ascension, and I'm so glad you brought that up, because this is something that came to me when I was sitting with Seven today. They talked to me about the spiral of ascension, and this is, I want you to imagine this for a second. Here's how a spiral is, right? It's going in a circle, right? It's going like this: decentralized. Um, Governments and banks can control Bitcoin. Yeah, absolutely. That's the core of it. Thank you, Pulsar Fusion, for clarifying that. And that's the beauty and the power of it. Even though now there are so many banks and actually governments that are starting to participate in both Bitcoin, but still, and part of it is because they are so focused on, wanting to sort of just kind of keep their hands everywhere. But they're also noticing that, we can't. This thing is sort of a power of its own. We can't really control it right now, even though they're going to attempt to do that. But I think, and this is the power of technology, if it is used within certain principles, that it really allows it allows us to evolve in an ascending way. Oh, thanks, Sheila. Sheila, I love it. You're always so encouraging, and like the cheerleader. You're like the cheerleader of Seven. Thank you. So, what is this spiral of ascension? They were speaking about it to me today, and they said that when you are in a spiral, you're going in a circle. And let's see. Sorry, we have to make sure that. Oh, thanks, Jenny. Yes, you noticed the pillows. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Now we got somebody that's coming in here. Um, no, 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 no. Uh-oh. Sorry, some strange things are happening. I just want to make sure I keep this chat clear, you guys. So, I'm gonna, Okay, cool. Just keeping the chat clear so the people who are really here with clear intentions can actually participate. So we're good to go. All right, guys. So, okay. Um, where were we? Spiral of ascension. Okay, what is a spiral? A spiral is going like this, right? But when it is moving, and we compare a lot of things to time and space on planet Earth. So to us, 1 minute, 2 hours can feel like a lifetime. In sort of galactic time, that's nothing, right? So when we are in a spiral of ascension, for us it feels like we're always moving in circles, right? Like this. But actually, in a galactic sense, it's moving slowly up like this. But again, to us, because for us time moves, we experience time differently than we were to experience it from a greater perspective, that it feels like we are moving so slowly, right? And it feels like, when is this ascension going to end? But ascension, first of all, it is, for first and foremost, it is a very individual process, all right? And different people are at different parts of these processes. And as more people shift, the more it changes the ascension, the energetic ascension of planet Earth. There's a with the age of Aquarius, came my perception have changed very much. A lot of very strange ascension feelings I've had. Absolutely, a lot of people are feeling it. And so as you're going through this spiral of ascension, my sense of time has changed also. For a lot of people, this has changed as well. And I'm actually going to share a message with you about this, because there's some interesting things that can happen when we are on the spiral, right? And if, let's say, energy on planet Earth is speeding up, which it has been, that's why we're seeing a lot of things manifested so much quicker and much more intensely. It is the same thing that sometimes happens in our personal lives. Okay, there's no sense of time for me. Absolutely, I often feel the same way, because the quicker we are moving in this spiral of ascension, okay, we do start to lose that sense of time and space. But instead of it being disorienting, right? Sometimes when we lose a sense of time and space, or sometimes when we're traveling between different time zones, and that's kind of in some ways when we are shifting dimensions, it's like you're shifting different time and space. Not only are you traveling to a different place geographically, but you're also traveling to a different time and to a different culture. Okay. And if you are traveling to a higher vibration, these shifts are happening fast, but sometimes they can be disorienting. When I went to, this is really interesting, a parallel to when I went to Belarus. I went there, and I was sort of picking up certain things from that place, and I was very, very curious. But I didn't investigate further. So when I arrived there, it was interesting. I was picking up certain energies literally from the moment, even from the moment we got on the plane, to with a lot of the people are heading there, the energy shifted. And then when we arrived there, the energy was very strong. I really felt this vibrational shift. And then I watched this vibrational shift that I felt, and I saw this world manifest, and I thought, oh, I was right in picking up these, like, that it really is where the country is right now, is at a certain frequency. And we were sort of not on the same frequency, which is why the way that I sort of experienced being there, and the people there experienced my presence there, was very different. Um, and so this is what happens when we are on this spiral of ascension, as we're lifting up, or even if the changes are subtle, sometimes the shifts that we feel are very, very intense. And sometimes we want it to be over. Um, do you believe that our solar system spirals through space? So Gold Rainbow says, Charlie, do you believe our solar system spirals through space? Well, we are definitely, absolutely, we are definitely moving through energy, we're always moving, absolutely, even as a solar system. I haven't really reflected on this. I haven't really reflected in the sense of what kind of movement we are, but from what is shared with me by our galactic family, specifically the Pleiadians, they do say that the spiral, the circular movement, is a huge part of how motion works. Okay, how motion works in the physical. Yes, vortex like, absolutely, exactly. Yeah. Pulsar fusion, by the way, thank you so much. Like the space of the Milky Way, absolutely. Vortex. It's very much the vortex. Yeah, exactly. And we're also moving in the vortex. Like we're also in our own vortexes, right? We have our own personal vortex. Um, very much crying also I've had. Yeah, as we are moving energetically, and let's say we are intentionally growing and we are in ascending, part of what's happening is that when we move, we are also letting go of a lot of old beliefs. And there's a sense of both relief in that and then that surrender. Sometimes when you've had those, what they call the tears of joy, or you've had an experience and it's over and it's only after that you can really express yourself emotionally. In a lot of ways, as we let go of old ways of being, there's an emotional relief. So Bob asked, are reptilians making their move now? Are they what is driving some of the things going on that seek sinister? Absolutely. Look, absolutely. All forces on this planet are making their moves because everybody's saying, oh, there is powerful energetic shifts. And people, that's the thing with being reactive. That's why it's important to be grounded and responsive, but not reactive, because a lot of different forces are noticing, like, oh, people are reactive right now. What can we make sure to sort of wrap them up into? And so that's why it's so important to, even if somebody says, we want you to own nothing and be happy, to listen to that, be like, oh, that's interesting. Instead of being, you want me to what? And to get react and be like, just because you're saying that doesn't mean I'm going to take the hook and buy into it. And so that's what a lot of these forces that want to sort of control, that's what they're hoping for, to say, we're going to do this, and people just getting reactive and getting emotional about it. Instead, we want to make sure to hear all this and to say, oh, this is interesting. This is how they want to, this is what they think is good or what they've decided. But just because they decided it doesn't mean that we need to participate in it, because without us, certain things can't happen. Um, so so absolutely, there's different forces working all the time, right? And that's why us remaining grounded as those waves are growing and we are in this water energy, being like, okay, which way which way am I guided from my inner higher being to go? Okay. And do you believe that it is as others lay out the patterns of the flower of life? Absolutely. With each and every breath we take and thought that we think, we are creating patterns. Okay. That's why you notice when they did the water experiments, and whenever certain thought patterns were directed towards the water, you could see the patterns the water was creating. Isn't that interesting? That's exactly what we're doing all the time. And oh, black orbs, that's interesting. So there was another question that came in. Oh, about seven. Okay. So um absolutely. So I ask Archangel Michael for help. Absolutely. Any being, any energetic being that you feel in a connection with, you make that connection with. There's so many beings that have always been intentionally helping humanity and souls to ascend. And um, and there are, again, contrasting forces that want to pull us in other directions, and in their frame of reality, they think they are doing something good. And this is something to keep in mind, is that what we call evil sometimes is not functioning with this thing of, we are going to do evil things. They're literally functioning with this thing of, in their minds, they're doing what they think is good. That is why that inner guidance is so key, because there's literally people, even in so-called, spiritual community, that I think they think they're doing something good, and then they're sort of guiding people in one way or another, because the energy that they're anchored in isn't necessarily an energy of ascension and growth, but it is more of this sort of what we call a reptilian energy, battle of light and darkness. Absolutely. And this light and dark is a balance, right? And it's important to notice how it plays out within ourselves all the time, and then to see what really feels right, you know? Does it feel good when we are filled with light, when we notice, is my word, is my thought, is my action, uh, uh, is it offering healing and light and well-being, or is it condemning, right? And um and it's really, really important to pay attention to that, because as we move in this spiral of ascension, and it's moving quickly, it really makes a difference when we are so intentionally. Are we moving like this? Are we maintaining this circle for much, much longer than we need to? Or are we really spiraling up, up, and up? Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So, um, pulsar fusion says relief. I like that. You know, relief is such a wonderful word when we are going through healing, because when we feel relief, that's what happens, right? So much weight is released. And one of the things that came in when I watched back the message that I shared, the channeled message that came in recently, the last one I shared with you, that Seven brought in about the lies. And one of the things that, and I sat with him for much longer, because I said, I really like this. I really like this. And I've brought this with other people that I've worked with. And one of the things that they said, you know, it's like, you every night you can sort of take out this trash of lies that's been collected through the day, and just take it out, just cleanse it out, put it out there. And I was noticing, as this visual is coming in and clearing it out and just putting it out there and just releasing it, you know, it's like allowing that sort of cosmic energy to alchemize this energy built from the lies into something more beautiful and fruitful. A great amount of relief came in. And this relief can be very calming, you know, can be very peaceful. And if you're someone, especially if you have trouble sleeping, this is a big one. A lot of reasons why people have trouble sleeping. Well, aside from, you know, drinking too much coffee or certain uh, 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 physiological influences, a lot of it is this anxiety that builds up. And what the anxiety is this erratic movement of the lies, okay? Trying to get our attention all the time, trying to make us believe what it wants us to believe. And so when we notice them and we take out the trash every night before we go to bed, you can even imagine this, you know what? I'm gonna cleanse out the lies. I'm gonna make space for the true worthiness that I have to really, for me to really feel it, for me to really sense it. As I take out these lies at the end of the days, and take out this trash and leave it out there in this space, and this is made, and this relief comes over me, and this relaxation takes over, it can be very, very good even for our physical bodies. Uh and it can really give us such a strong sense of well-being, that it begins to transform physiologically what's happening in us in the long term. Relief makes, and seeing multidimensional creatures, absolutely. See, when we are in a state of clarity and peace, our vision expands. Usually, when we believe the lies and we believe that the sort of 3D matrix, our vision is like this, right? It's almost like, if you guys do this right now and you put your hand really close to you, you can't really notice much. Your eyes sort of kind of are confused. They're like, what am I looking at? But as you open it up, it's like so much to take in, right? Relief makes me feel I've won. Absolutely. I didn't hand over my power. This is interesting because Sheila, what you said, this kind of ties in what Bob is saying. How do we defeat the reptilians? We defeat the reptilians every time. And this is what I loved about this thought that came in from Seven, which was, is the word that you are saying, speaking, the emotion coming through, the thought coming through, is it healing? Is it coming from a place of love and peace and kindness and gentleness and support? Or is it condemning? A lot of people feed this kind of energy, what we call this reptilian energy, by the thoughts that they harbor. Okay. So as we harbor thoughts of greed, of fear, of anger, of jealousy, and we really ruminate in them, what are we doing? We're feeding this reptilian energy wherever it is present. If it's present in us, if it's present in our neighbor, if it's present in our child, if it's present in our partner, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, if it's present in our government, all those thoughts, that's what they do. All right. So the way in which we defeat it is by us, first and foremost, noticing, what am I holding on within? What am I? We're all vessels, okay? We're all vessels, okay? So what's in my vessel? Okay, what am I allowing in my vessel? Okay, every single day. And this is so key, because a lot of people think, I'm going to do something without. You can do something without, but it's got to come from a space that you build within. When people come from a place of just fear and anger, any action they put out there, they might cause some kind of change, but it's usually very temporary and it usually backfires on them. This even comes from large groups of people. We've seen this in our own culture. Okay. A lot of wars that were started just from a place of greed and control have backfired, okay, on a lot of people. Even though in the moment it seemed like people were doing the right thing. And there have been some cases where, you know, we sort of supported places that needed that right kind of support to gain real peace. But in a lot of times, it was a lot of this energy of greed, vibration, fear that fed the actions, and then actions were taken. And then in the moment, it felt like, great, we're fighting this enemy, but it all backfired. And it's in the same way that we deal with all these energies in our life and the life without. Vibration, vibration, absolutely. Oh, thank you, Gabrielle. Thanks so much. So, removal subliminals. Okay, so Gold Rainbow asks, do you think that galaxy spirals out of the Milky Way, that the eye of Horus in Egypt presented, so we shall all be apple of God's eye and live in love and kindness as one? Absolutely. And you know what? We're already living in this vibration of oneness, because we have to understand that a lot of us, where we are right now, we experience reality what it feels like very much within the same sort of dimensions. But the truth is that we are existing in many more dimensions that we don't usually tap into. We do sometimes during meditation, and some people, that's why some people sometimes take certain substances, because they want to tap into these other dimensions. And so, but you can do it without having to take outside substances. And meditation has been sort of like the tried and true way that so many masters have shared, where we get to live in this, where we get to not just live, but experience this dimension that we're already living in. And it's in the non-physical. Okay. This is where we experience this oneness. And as we practice experiencing this oneness more and more and more, we start to notice it in our day-to-day life. I have to admit, I notice it so much more in the last few years that I've been connecting with Seven. And I see it magnify more and more and more, where I'll go throughout the day. And it doesn't matter if I'm in Brazil or if I'm in Utah or in Belarus or somewhere in the world, where I can literally see these portals open up and notice that, whoa, I'm not just, in this time and space. And it's not just me experiencing this. I can tell this other person right now, whether they can identify what it is or not, but they're literally experiencing something different. And it's coming through. Okay. So we're already experiencing this. But what's happening now, so many souls throughout lifetime are wanting to bring this level of unity in this physical plane. All right. And that's what this ascension is moving us towards, to being able to experience what we experience in non-physical more and more into the physical. Do you believe in benevolent reptilians? Absolutely, yes. There's good and bad in every species, even in the reptilians. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because and here's the thing, this reptilian energy, it's present in all of us, okay? Even in we all have a part of this because not only do we have a reptilian brain from the evolutionary aspect, but whether you want to believe this or not, we have been genetically influenced by different species, okay? That's sort of how the human has evolved. And so, what we call good or bad, so much of it is in this energy that we are carrying, no matter what sort of genetic influence we have, okay? Pies to the Netherlands. Oh, cool. Mikey Pikey from the Netherlands. Wish all of us feel the emotions, enjoy them. Good luck, everyone. Thank you, thank you. My life path number is 7, so I resonate very much with number 7. Awesome. And so we do have some of this energy ourselves, which is why so much of ascending, a big part of it is it's 3 main pieces: awareness of where am I really? What's the energy that I'm carrying? How am I participating in this physical reality? Am I really connected to non-physical energy? And I'm allowing my higher being to be a guide, or am I sort of shushing its voice and listening to the lies? The other part of transformation, which is as soon as we sort of wake up our spiritual warrior and we say, I am going to face the lies and I'm going to challenge the lies, I'm going to challenge that inner judge, transformation starts happening, right? We go from that reptilian state of survival, fear, okay, always watching out, to sort of more of like a jaguar, right? We're hunting, we're on our feet, we're moving, right? And then as that transformation happens, we begin to gain a broader perspective. What happens? We become like the eagle, okay? So my point is, like, we all have this reptilian energy in us, and part of ascension is noticing how it's playing out in our lives and how to ascend to a broader perspective, okay? Uh, um, all right. So, are there 6-dimensional beings with 7 which you channeled? Okay, I'm gonna come back to that. Jane says, sorry, I just joined. Have you spoken about the financial reset and the new financial system, which is going to the gold standard? They're going to collapse the US dollar. I do think prophetic dreams and visions. Okay, I did, Jane. Hi, Jane. I spoke about cryptocurrency. And that's sort of like that's been the force that's been challenging the financial system and the digital. We are moving, and this is something that the Pleiadians have been speaking about. They have been speaking about how technology is going to become a greater part, but they sort of also kind of warn a little bit in terms of saying, maintain a balance, um, because your world is going to become more and more digital, more and more technology based. But make sure that technology doesn't become your god, because it really can't. It is limited, but it can offer us a lot of freedom, which it has. But if we take it too far, it can also become too controlling. So what's happening is the digital currency is what's challenging right now the financial system, and that's what's really that's the direction that we're moving, and it's brand new. And did they tell you Bitcoin will be worthless since it's backed by fiat and not gold? Um, no, absolutely not. Because what's happening is, and it's not going to change. It's not really about Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a representation of the movement, just like, the old currencies have been a representation. I remember when I was living in Europe where I was born, and there was like, the German mark and the Italian lira, and all those disappeared. And one day there was no Italian lira, right? So in that sense, Bitcoin represents that. Well, what's happening is something else is emerging. And Bitcoin is part of that representation. Eventually, it's going to turn into something else. And it's not so much about, worthless, because we've always redefined what's worthy and what's worthless, right? And as humans, we also sort of decide like what's worthy and what's worthless. And so that's evolving on its own as well. So they say AI has a limit, such as it can't understand sarcasm. That's great. I love that. Absolutely. Or humor, to be honest. AI can necessarily understand a lot of things when it comes to human emotion, which is why they realize that they cannot program human emotion, they cannot program AI like humans because they realize that humans are so unpredictable that all they've got to do is collect data from us on and on and on to really understand us. So we really hold the power. And I really want to really emphasize this because this is, what's also so unpredictable to all the powers that any government or whatever, they know that we are unpredictable, not because we're crazy, but because we have the power. And because we're always ascending, that power is always magnifying. All right. Crypto Dad can teach you it all on YouTube. Yeah, there's lots of amazing people that understand crypto really, really well. I come from it truly from more a spiritual, broader perspective. I can't tell you about, people ask this coin, that coin. I don't know about that. I can tell you from a broader perspective that part of what's happening because of this shift, the financial system is going to change. A lot of things are going to change. And which way it changes, and this is the other thing, is that we have actually a lot more to do with it than we think we do. Oh, hi, Peter. Peter says I'm late, I guess, because of spring 4 o'clocks. Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I wasn't even aware. In that sense, I am grateful for technology because my phone updated the time itself. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been aware that times were changing because not everywhere in the world, in Brazil, they didn't do the time change, but here in the US, they do. So we are the power. Don't give it away. Absolutely. I know it almost sounds like, you hear this, but when you really begin to practice it and you really begin to see it play out in the world around you, it's really amazing. Sorry, I'm not sure, but did you explain already where are we headed at Ascension by Pleiadians? Well, Ascension is always unfolding, okay? That's the thing about it being, first of all, an individual process. And people have been ascending all throughout human, sort of from the moment that the modern human as we know it was born, so to speak. Humans have been ascending. And what's been happening through the many, many centuries of human time, of so many masters working through different beings, physically and non-physically, is that a lot more people have been sort of kind of understanding how things have been, how ascension really works, how spiritual evolution works, and a lot of more souls, okay, a lot more souls that have been living out lives here on planet Earth because of what's been happening. They've been learning a lot more lessons and evolving a lot more with each lifetime. So every lifetime, there's a next evolution, even though it doesn't feel like it sometimes. They say history repeats itself, but it doesn't exactly repeat itself. Um, so there could potentially be a US versus China crypto mining race in the near future. Absolutely. All these will all be part of this sort of physical unfolding, okay? And the reason why a spiritual practice is so important, the reason why a practice in being connected to your own ascension process is so important is that the physical is going to change. Just like when you're in the water and you take a boat out in the water, you accept that the waters are going to shift, okay? But you're in it for the ride. That's what we all came into. We incarnated and we incarnate into every physical life. We're in it for the ride because we know no matter what is happening in each lifetime, we are definitely ascending. We're definitely growing. We are definitely expanding. Okay, so remember that. No, Jasar and Nassar, no, but a lot of information is always coming through different guides. So much of what comes through seven or the seven, a lot of it is about this ascension process that we're both on a personal and on a group earth level, okay? And this is what so much of the information that comes through, and a lot of it is coming through in terms of what's happening on the soul level, okay? And this is so key because I know so many of you are witnessing in your lives as you are becoming more intentional. You're seeing it play out in the world around you. Okay. And pay attention. Okay. Pay pay attention to not just the information coming through from everywhere, but start to really pay attention to also what's happening within you. Okay. It's going to have the rapture in the Bible. Well, here's the thing is that Ascension is unfolding right now. Okay. You see this spiral? Okay. It's not like a zigzag, right? It's a spiral. So it's happening right now. And for a lot of people, they, because of this spiral and because they're sort of, their ascension is moving at their own pace in their personal lives, it feels like very slow, right? For some people, it's just moving like this. So they're noticing these raptures in their own lives. However, climactically speaking, in terms of well, climactically in both ways, in terms of the energy, but also the climate on planet Earth, is that most people are not going to really notice ascension, just like most people, a lot of people started noticing this shift because of COVID. That was a form of rapture. Okay. That was this collective energy manifesting in the world without nature manifesting herself as well. Okay. So it's already happening. Okay. And a lot of people, they want to wait for the rapture. When the rapture comes, it's going to be too late, meaning things are going to be shifting. You don't want to wait for the rapture. You want to get with your own awakening and your own ascension now. Trust me, massive changes are happening right now. A lot of people think that, oh, the massive change is just COVID, or the massive change is just quarantine, or the massive change is, quarantine ending. That's one way, but there's other energetic shifts that are huge that we don't even notice with these eyes, that we don't necessarily even experience in terms of the actual climate changing that are happening when we begin to really plug in spiritually. Okay. So that's what we want to really pay attention to, that within. We don't want to wait for the physical rapture. Okay. We really want to pay attention to when these messages are coming in powerfully within. Okay. And there's going to be, there absolutely is going to be a another huge physical manifestation for sure coming up in the next 20 to 30 years. Okay, that's the window of time. That's what I'm saying. You don't want to wait for that, but there's absolutely going to be another big shift happening for sure. So Earth is originally 5 dimensional, but reptilians are limiting the Earth to 3D with moon matrix. Here's a perspective I want to bring, and this is the perspective that comes through the Pleiadians, that they say is more of like a source perspective, that and that thing of remembering that we have this reptilian energy within ourselves. That's why we really want to notice it, how it plays out and manifests in our lives. Okay. And the reason why we want to do that is because we really want to be attentive to when we look to the world out there and we're saying they're keeping us, they're controlling us, because that takes a lot of that inner responsibility away from us. And like I said, we want to pay attention to what the forces out there are doing and to really say, oh, they want to move me in that direction. But you know what? I know that direction just not really vibing with me right now, because I'm being guided in a different direction. Okay. And it's very daring to go in that direction that you are guided towards. And so, but if we say they have the power, they're keeping me down, they're keeping us down, what is that doing? We become filled with paranoia and with fear. And what does fear do, right? Fight, flight, or freeze, right? We fight and we become depleted in the fight, right? We freeze, we feel stuck, right? Or we flight and we run off. whatever other direction, usually unintentional. So we really, really want to be attentive and just notice that there are different energies working, but that we have a strong influence on how the energies, how they're working, in which way they manifest. Okay. Underbelly of our planet. When will the dark beings be brought to the light? Okay. Sherry asks, can you speak about the battle between the light and the dark in the underbelly of our planet? When will the dark beings be brought to the light? And okay, so the light and the dark. Well, that's happening right now. Sometimes people think that the dark being exposed is the dark sort of being in a court, right? And we saying like you're the dark and we're going to punish you because you've been doing this to us. The thing is the dark is always revealing itself. When our vision becomes clear, we see how the dark manifests itself, and then we can choose to participate in it or move towards the light. Okay. And the dark, especially during these times, really revealed itself. Okay. I'm not going to go into it. It's happening right now. It is happening right now. You know what it is and what specifically how it manifests, because it is up to every single one of us to really notice it. Okay. And anybody that wants to tell you this is light, this is dark, or makes it political, makes it this or that, they're sort of, it's not about taking sides. When you're really having a broad spiritual, broader perspective, you're not judging it. You're just sort of saying, like, okay, this is how dark manifests itself. This is how light manifests itself. Okay. I'm going to choose to move towards the light. I'm going to be part of this army. Okay. And when you do, you're already, a lot of people think, oh, I have to do this and that. If you are with every single move that you make, spoken like an eagle that flies above it all, absolutely. When you have that eagle perspective and you have that light perspective and you see this other energy manifesting itself, understand you have a lot more power now because you have that broader perspective. Okay. That's when you know you're the eagle and you're looking above it, and that's when you know you have the power. A lot of people sort of get caught up in, what we call this reptilian energy, this sort of, darker energy, and they're kind of like allowing it to put them in this fear, freeze, fight or flight mode, right? But the eagle just sees what's happening and observes it, the broader perspective. And that's what the Pleiadians, they say, they say, we're not here to tell you what to do because you have the power to have this perspective. They say you have the power to have this perspective, even in this physical reality. Now they say your inner being already has this perspective. So even just the simple daily practice of connecting to that perspective allows you, but they say it's so many humans are so caught up in this matrix of the fear of this reptilian energy that it's so hard for them to unplug from it. But once you do, and that's why there are so many guides, and you pay attention to what guides, physical or non-physical, are actually helping you connect to this space of allowing you to gain relief, helping you connect more to the inner power, helping you, bringing a new perspective to your current perspective. Okay, that's what those things are. So and that's what emotions in a lot of ways allow us to do, to sort of be like, is this allowing me to rise above? And again, this is not about numbing yourself up and not knowing what's happening in your life. I'm not a proponent of that. As you notice, during COVID, I was traveling. I was in Brazil at the place that was considered to be so dangerous. I was recently in Belarus because I want to be at the sort of forefront of life. And if something is going to happen, or if I'm going to face danger, as it is sometimes part of this physical reality, that's when I'm being tested. And I'm being shown, am I really living like the eagle with a broader perspective? Am I sort of descending to this sort of reptilian fear? I'm allowing these energies, you know, when I landed in Belarus, those people, they were incredibly suspicious, incredibly paranoid. And it really made me aware of like, oh, when also it mirrored for me, like, when have I been also paranoid and allowed the fear to come in? and looked at whatever was happening, even if it was dark, to bring me down to this place of, oh no, but when we rise up and we say, I've got the power, that's very different. That really is a very different place to be. And that's what we want to practice. We want to know that that's there, because sometimes without that energy being there, we don't know what this is like. Okay. Sometimes without these energies, these reptilian energies being there, we don't know what it's like to really rise up. That's why, in a way, the human has this part of them. As part, we all have this aspect of us, and part of ascension is rising to a broader perspective. Okay. And so so it's really, really important to know that, okay, there is this battle, but it's also happening within me. Oh, thank you, Sheila. You guys being here, I feel that great support, and I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot. And we are an army of light, and every single day, whether you realize it or not, you're participating in this. I don't like to call it a battle. I was born in a place where I witnessed war, and physical war is nasty, it's dark, it's painful. But sometimes that's what humans go through to gain freedom and peace. So so the thing is, we are battling this every single day when we are noticing thoughts of fear, and we are ruminating in jealousy or greed, or any of these things come in. We are participating in this battle. But when we practice, okay, we practice every day to rise our vibration, to practice also embracing what the fear is telling us, to pay attention without being reactive. All these things, all these messages that come through different guides, this is us participating in this battle and winning it every single day. That's how we sort of fight this battle. We're all participating in it, okay? Um, Never get the fake vaccine. It's the mark of the beast. Thanks for being a light worker. All right. All right. Here's the thing. You're all here to make a free choice, okay? This is a space where you are a free being. So that's important to remember. But no matter what choice you make, you are always loved and supported by Source. That's what I want you to know. You're always loved and supported by Source, no matter what choice you make. Okay, so Radu says, Charlie, I have a question. When interacting with Seven, have they shown how human beings will be able to truly awaken their psychic gifts and be able to reconnect others to their light within? What they show me is that humans are doing it every single day. Sometimes we as humans have this idea that, there's going to be the burning bush, and sometimes there is. But sometimes a lot of people, and this is something they say, are always picking up a lot of uh, 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 messages, higher messages all the time. They just judge them. That's what that inner judge does. That's why they talk a lot about the lies, because they say, "Oh, who are you? Who are you talking to?" I know I went through it, and I know some, being a channeler, let's admit it. Sometimes people think I'm totally crazy, but I just know by the way the messages come in and how they've helped me in my life, and that's all I look at. And a lot of people are always receiving these messages and are always getting opportunities to expand their psychic gifts. So it's happening now, okay? Radu, it's happening now. Pay attention to how it's happening in your life, okay? Pay attention when you are getting those messages. And again, that's what their inner judge comes in and starts telling you, who do you think you are? Oh, you think you're so intuitive. Oh, you think you're so psychic. Oh, you think you can hear this or that. Just be like, you know what? Thanks very much. But right now, I'm receiving something. I'm going to allow it to come through and work through me, okay? Um, and so And so this is something that is happening every single day. And the thing is that the more that you practice it, the more that people practice it collectively, the more it magnifies. So during the COVID-19 onset, I was feeding of the fear and blissing out because of the DNA upgrades. Abs- uh, uh, we are the creators. Absolutely. You're not crazy. Some of the world is. Absolutely. But in order for us to expand, we've got to be a little bit crazy because we've got to imagine a version of the world that's not already there. And that, my friends, is a very, very bold thing to do. Okay. To imagine a version of the world that's not already there. That's the power that we have, right? The power of imagination. That's when we put this mind of ours that sometimes gets in the way to good use. And that's the key. Always notice, and I even ask myself, is my mind is it really, am I allowing source to utilize my mind for good, or is it really getting in the way? And when we are able to practice our imagination, when we are able to open up our hearts, and when we are able to be in a state of peace while also observing the sort of what feels like sometimes it's insanity of the world, that's when we are those eagles. And on top of that, if we're able to actually continue to participate in the world by the things we create, by the messages that we share, that's when we're really living from the source perspective, you know? And that's what it's about. That's what it's about. That's how we upgrade our DNA. And we're constantly being bathed with incredible energy, okay? Remember that. No matter what it feels like, oh my God, there's so much darkness and so many close like forces closing in. Nuh-uh. That's what the enemy wants you to believe. That's what the fear and the lies want you to believe, that you have nowhere to go. You're trapped. But the truth is, when you realize, wait a minute, I can literally fly above this. I am the eagle. I have source perspective. It changes. I mean, again, I sort of sometimes put myself in the face of danger because, like I said, that's how you are faced with where you really are, right? It's like the thing of like when things are good, everybody feels good. But it's when you're faced with certain things that you really notice, am I living with source perspective, or am I allowing the sort of enemy or the darkness take over? And that's when we uh, um, really become we spiritually powerful, okay? And that's what creates a real shift within us in terms of activating more of our DNA, in terms of also changing our telomere, age. I haven't gotten too much into this, but there's a lot on this as well. A lot of people become obsessed with this, changing their age here, and obsessed with youth and all that. But again, a lot of these shifts that can happen at the biological place, they also begin very much spiritually. Um, think outside the box and being obscure. It's interesting you mentioned this word obscure. Mystery. This has been coming up, and this is really, really cool because this expression, the universe works in mysterious ways. When I was channeling this week, sometimes the messages come in through writing. And one of the words that came up was mystery. And one of the things that the seven were speaking about, they said, embrace the mystery. Because they said, there is a knowing, but sometimes, and part of coming into a physical life, they say so many humans, and this is all part of your soul contract, is that you embrace the mystery, the not knowingness. You sort of forget your past lives, you forget whatever you know things that you've come in here to work in this lifetime, right? It's all part of it. You come in and you say, you know what, it's all good. I'm sort of going to come in with this amnesia. I'm going to embrace the mystery. And they said there's so much mystery. There's so much mystery, and it's okay to embrace that mystery, because once you embrace the mystery and you embrace the unknown, again, you're sort of more in that childlike place where now you make space for the known to make itself visible to you, but not all at once. Because they said, if you knew all at once as a human being, first of all, they said it's your mind is not set up like that. You literally, your mind almost has like it's been set up to a certain level. They said that it's part of it. It sort of trickles in, and you enjoy the mystery revealing itself. There's great pleasure and joy and fun, just like children, they say, have so much fun by investigating like a simple toy, like, oh, what's this? Oh, I can make a sound with this, like, Oh, wow. And there's like, when you're a child and you're discovering toys in the world, there's a great sense of excitement. And that's why kids are always so curious. And even they might cry in one moment, the next moment they're sort of up and going because why? They've sort of uh, have embraced the mystery. And so this thing of even thinking outside the box, as Gold Rainbow is saying, comes from embracing the mystery and knowing that we don't know everything, and that's okay. Because in that mystery, we know that the mystery is holding so much wisdom and knowledge and knowingness. And when we are in this imaginative open space, that's when we discover stuff. And, artists and musicians, I know, Peter, you're a musician, like that's part of the creativity, right? It's like, you're always channeling as a musician, right? As an artist, as um honestly, any person that sort of becomes dedicated, even a mechanic who's like really dedicated to what they're doing and they're fixing cars, when they're in the zone, we're in the zone. We've embraced the mystery. We've embraced that we know what we know, and no matter what, we are going to be in a space of discovery and moving towards the light. And the more and more that we move towards the light, the more and more the mystery becomes visible. But at the same time, there's so much beauty in embracing that we don't know everything, right? That's why that cliche of like, oh, they think they know everything, right? That person's like, oh, they think they know everything. So what happens? You're just sort of like, oh, they know everything. And there's so much fun in the not knowingness. And that's something that I love about channeling because I don't know everything. And when it comes through, it's very exciting because sometimes it confirms what I already know. And it's like a memory coming back of saying, oh my God, it's like I had amnesia and this memory is coming back. And sometimes it's like pure revelation. So, wow, that felt good. That was like I felt the energy of seven really present. So, thank you, everyone. I know so many of you that have been sticking around from the beginning. Thank you. There's a lot of good stuff that came through, and there's a lot of awesome questions that you all brought up. Thank you. I really, really appreciate that. We need time to process things. Absolutely. Yes. Yes, absolutely. Oh, it's so good to be here with you all. Thank you. Lots of good stuff that has come through. And again, thank you for everything, for your gifts, for your questions, for your messages. And we're here to play. We're here to grow. Our souls came here specifically in this lifetime, okay? In certain timelines, okay? When you really start, it's good to see you too, Ralph. Oh, thank you, Gold Rainbow. We come into this physical reality where you are in this lifetime. Love you too, Pulsar Fusion. For specifically, right? We are not just, it's not random, okay? There things aren't random. They may seem that they are random, but that's what's, this what they call divine timing. For a lot of people, it's really hard sometimes, especially for the more science-minded people where they're always looking for patterns and they don't see patterns. They're like, this is not, it's all random. And then what they're noticing is that there are so many divine patterns in nature and in this reality. And where we are, we have chosen these specific lifetimes and the missions that we are on very specifically. Oh, thanks so much, Radio. I appreciate you guys being in this space. And so much of the wisdom that comes forth comes because of you. This is something that Seven always say. They say, when you ask, the answers come. If nobody asks, they say answers won't come. It's that simple. Nothing is infringing on people. So whenever anybody asks, the questions come. And your guys seeking and asking is what allows for the questions to come, because I begin to ask, like, what's this? I want to know now. I hadn't even thought of this question, or I even hadn't even thought of this perspective. So thank you for bringing that forth. Nothing happens by coincidence. Absolutely. There is no randomness. It feels like it. And there have even been, social and scientific experiments where they've tried to sort of be random. And they notice no matter how much they try to infuse this randomness and chaos, there's a pattern that it always comes about because of that. Jen says, thank you, Charlie. You're awesome. Oh, God bless you. Let's remember God, not just the universe. Give God, the creator, the glory, love, and light. Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my God. Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you for your gift. I really, really appreciate it. Absolutely. Yes. We've got to remember God. You know, we use many words to call God, universe, but it is all an incredible energy that no matter what we call it is, we are a divinely created by this force. And because of that, we carry divinity within all of us. And it is always guiding us. And it is, you know, as they say in sort of in the Christian world, they say, you know, we are created in the image of God. Absolutely, we really are. And we've got to remember that. And because of that, we have so much fullness within us. Okay. There's light and dark within us. And we are constantly sifting and sorting through everything. And as we allow this guidance to come through, that sifting and sorting becomes more, it flows more. Okay. And it's just so incredible to witness. And it's so incredible to share, and I really, really appreciate all of you. I have really witnessed in my life as I've connected with all of you is that it's completely shifted my experience. It's really amazing when we have when we connect with other kindred souls who are the chosen ones who are on this intentional path. It's like, whoa, this is so cool. It's like, you know, meeting like the special team, right? You're like, you know, Mission Impossible team. Yes. It feels like it sometimes. It's like, and we're all, you know, telepathically connected. I definitely feel that, like, I'm always communicating with all of you, like sending blessings, sending messages, and just it's really awesome. So thank you for all of that. Um, thank you. We really are a cosmic family, no matter where genetically we have come from. We're at the end of the day, we all share the same sort of soul genetic. We all part of this God force of this universe of source. So thank you to you all. I'm going to wrap this up. Again, to remind you all, we are in this Pisces energy, which brings in a lot of, it's actually a good space to really access your imagination, to bring about visions of your own life, of the planet Earth. And because as spring comes about in the northern hemisphere and the fall comes about in the southern hemisphere, it's actually going to be a time of motion. Okay, that means that a lot of these visions that we're sort of cooking up, they're going to start to uh, really start manifesting in the world without. So take the time to do that. Have fun with it. Oh, thank you, Sheila. I really, really appreciate you. Yes. Yeah. I really get your energy as well. You Pulsar Fusion as well. I really appreciate you guys. I know that a lot of us that are really connected here all the time, we have definitely shared some previous lives. This is sometimes fun for me when I take the time. I don't do it as much as I'd like to, but to really relax. And sometimes visions come through of energies that we have shared in the past. Sometimes that's really, really cool because you really see like, oh my God, I'm really connected to this person. And it totally transcends this physical reality that I'm on. Something completely else is happening here. We've definitely known each other before. So it's really cool. So yeah, have fun, set your visions in motions, dream, and remember, no matter what is happening in the world out there, not only do you hold the power to your own power, but you also hold the power to create your own vision. So, oh, hi, Laura. It's good to see you. Hugs to you, Ralph. Joy to the world all night. Yes, I love that. Yes, joy to the world. That's the best way to uplift anyone and the best way to defeat any force that we feel like is might be working against planet Earth or our own personal lives is that to share that joy. Radu says, a quote for all from Rudolf Steiner. The lower self says, I'm here in the eye which beholds the sun. The higher self says, I am in the sun, and in the sun's rays, I look into your eyes. Wow, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful quote to wrap this all up. Wow, so, so beautiful. And It's as if we've been sharing in each other's soul eyes. May the force be with you. Absolutely. The force is in all of us, and it's so good to share this moment with you. And for this reminder, thank you, Pulsar Fusion. All right, Cosmic Family, I wish you all a beautiful week ahead. And remember, reality is unfolding in many different dimensions. And one of those multiple areas, dimensions, is the non physical. And the non physical has this broad perspective. So remember to plug into that as much as you can or whenever you need to. And I'm always here for those reminders. The 7 are always here for those reminders. So thank you. Hi, Jacob. Love. Absolutely. Cara says, thank you. Wonderful. Yes, thank you. Love you guys. Love you all. Oh, Shaka just waved to you. Hello. Big hug to everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Radu. Thank you. It's been fun. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Pulsar Fusion. All right. Bye, everybody.